Sister Shani did a phenomenal job, and I took notes. I believe that leaders must develop themselves. I have a paper that I want to give you so that you can fill in, because I have the tendency, especially when talking about leadership, to kind of be all over the place. But I have a time limit, and I want to give you guys a chance to ask questions so that what we're going over makes sense. So everybody should have a piece of paper and something to write with. One of the things that I want to say is that I believe that every auxiliary and every leader is an extension of our pastor when it comes to our ministry. Amen. When people come to the church and they join the church and they're a part of the ministry, Elder Washington does not pastor them one-on-one directly. He doesn't. They become a part of an auxiliary or a ministry, or people adapt to them, whether you're a deaconess or a deacon, and you are a representation of the ministry to that person. Do you understand that? It's the culture of your auxiliary that determines how people view the ministry. So that's why leadership is important. That's why auxiliaries are important, because they will spend more time in a choir rehearsal and hanging out with you than they will listening to pastor preach. It's just the reality of it. They will spend, my media team, they spend more time with me upstairs or doing media stuff than they do on Sunday mornings. The same way with Sunday school or whatever it is that you're over. So we have to take what we do serious as leaders. So, what I'm talking about is finding vision and purpose in your auxiliary. And this is very important to me, because nobody wants to be a part of something that doesn't have vision and that's not going anywhere. Nobody wants to be a part of something that does not have vision and is not going anywhere. And I'm going to be very transparent, and I'm going to speak candid. We're not on Facebook Live. We're here amongst leaders, and if we don't speak truth and are transparent, then we will never grow. When Pastor Washington told me and my wife that she was going to set us aside to be deacons and deaconesses, that was both one of the greatest things that it was an honor as my leader for her telling me, hey, I'm looking at your life and I want to set you aside for the work of a deacon. So it was a great thing. The other part of that was, in my heart, I kind of despise being a deacon. Because every time it came to something that had to be done around the church, people would always talk down about the deacon. Oh, why the deacons ain't do it? The deacons. So it almost became like, Brother George and Deacon Graham would do everything, and everybody else kind of just fell in between. And so I didn't want to. It's like you go to the deacon board and you just do communion and you clean up the church, and then after a while, you just get old and, you sit in that corner and you wear your white and you just kind of fade off in the sunset. And as a young man who loves vision, who loves inspiring people, who loves being a part of a team, I didn't want to just die off in the sunset. And so, no shade to my leader, Deacon Graham is a doer. And he has the heart of the ministry at heart. So this is not about him, but I've always thought that as deacons and deaconesses, that our job is to take the heart of the leader and exemplify it to the congregation. Not just that, but to understand what's going on, where we're going, where we're missing it at, and like Sister Shani said, pray and come up with strategy to help the church function better. And for the most part, our only job has been, hey, y'all need to be here to open up church. Y'all need to be here. And those are our duties. Those are what we're supposed to do. But there's also, we have to be focused on where we're going and what we're missing. And so I'm going to focus on just two areas. If you look at this little sheet that my wife so eloquently put together last night based on my notes, we have two areas that we're going to focus on when you're talking about vision and purpose, right? The first area is function. The second area is future. Function. The purpose for which something is designed or exists, its role, right? So the first thing you need to know as a leader is, what is the function of your auxiliary? And I left spaces there for you to write down, right? What is the purpose of your auxiliary? Why does it exist? Somebody tell me. If you're over an auxiliary or you work or you're the assistant, tell me. What anybody knows the purpose of their auxiliary? I'm gonna call you. This is interactive. I'm not just gonna talk. Sister Tracy, what's the purpose of the Sunday school?
Well, I was just thinking it's the building of the kingdom and having people to come out to learn the word and study and fellowship in the Sunday school and get to know the Bible instead of just in preaching on Sunday mornings. This is the first ministry in the morning time and getting them started.
Absolutely. Sister Barbara, what's the purpose of the picnic ministry? Why does it exist? Why do we have it?
Why is because get all the people together at really almost the end of the year so we can come together as a whole so we can fellowship and do things together.
And do you understand why that's important?
Yes.
Okay, so as a leader, if you don't know the purpose of your auxiliary and why does it exist, then that's where we need to start at. And this is not, our job as leaders is to refine each other and develop each other. So this is a safe space. Your leaders, your deacons, your deaconess, your ministers. So we ask the crazy questions here so that when we meet with our auxiliaries, we don't seem like we don't know anything, right? So this is where we grow at. So every leader should know their purpose of your auxiliary and why does it exist. Here's the second question. What does success look like within my auxiliary? It's hard for us to hold you accountable and say, listen, the choir is not where it's supposed to be. If you don't know what a successful choir looks like. And if you don't know, then what should you do?
Ask.
You should ask. You should research too, but I would ask. Hey, Pastor, let me meet with you. Prophet, I need to meet with you. The often I need to, what is it supposed, what does functioning at the highest level look like for my usher board? Is it uniforms? Is it where we positioned on the wall? Like, what does success look like? If you don't know, then you can never get there. So ask. A lot of times we get into October and we jump into positions and we take them and we're excited, but then like realistically, we don't know what the expectations are. Yeah. And so then when we get back to the next October, the one thing we say is, well, I called and they didn't come and I am so sick of that one. Okay, you called the rehearsal, you called the meet, they didn't come. That's the oldest excuse in the book. At some point, you need to figure out a way to get people to come. Correct. And if you don't know, you do what Sister Shiny said. You invested yourself as a leader and go to conferences, workshops, look on YouTube and find out what's working. Because every church is not dead. I don't care what they say. Me and my wife make it a habit of visiting other churches when we're on vacation. And a lot of the churches we visit, we wait in a line. One church we waited in Orlando, Deeper Fellowship. They lined up an hour before service, and their building is about the size of ours. I'm not talking about mega ministry. They have 3 services a day. Pastor William McDowell, Deeper Fellowship. We got there an hour and a half early. We waited in the car for 30 minutes. When the line started lining up, we jumped out, we got in the line because we wanted to be a part of the morning worship. So every church is not begging people to come. There are churches where people line up to get a good seat in the church. When your church, your auxiliary, when what you're doing has something to offer, you don't have to beg people to come. They want to be a part of it. Do anybody remember the sermon that Pastor preached on Deacon George when he was alive? And she talked about loving your job and working for God and being an usher. She preached a sermon and she really exalted Deacon George. After that sermon, I think DeVal, we had like 2 or 3 people join the usher board. Why? Because Pastor made it look good. And Brother George was just an usher. He enjoyed standing on that door. He loved his job. And so when Pastor highlighted that, people wanted to be a part of that. So what does success look like within my auxiliary? Ask yourself the question. What does a successful pastor's aid board look like? Ask your pastor. We serve him. What does it look like? And I see Sister Moore. I know they're very visible. They make sure you have water and this and that. But sometimes we revamp and we ask, what are we missing anything? What do you think? So And then 3, what does it take for us to operate at that level? All right. So you look at where you are. I can't get people to come. They won't show up at the meetings, blah, 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 all of your issues and your problems. And then you look at what does success within this auxiliary look like. And then your plan starts with getting from where I am to where I want to be. It's easy. It's easy. But like Sister Shani said, you have benchmarks. So the first benchmark may be, my people are not trained. Or we go back, I as a leader am not informed. I've never been a Sunday school superintendent before. And so when I get up in front of them, it shows. I remember when Pastor made me the superintendent, I was like, whoa, okay, all right. Didn't know what it looked like, but I served up under Pastor Jeffrey Way for a while, and so I watched. And I was his assistant. I remember the Sunday, he was like, this is going to be my last Sunday. I'm going to start my own ministry. And I was like, oh, Jesus, that means I'm going to be the guy, you know. And one of the things that we don't like as leaders, we hate to be exposed. Hate to be exposed. When you stand up in front of people and you don't know your stuff, they know that you don't know your stuff.
Come on. Help us.
If you ask me, hey, Brother Maxie, if Sister Shiny say, I'm going to be out this week and I need you to lead mass choir rehearsal, I am probably going to get the church iPad, pull up a YouTube clip of somebody doing some choir stuff and let them see it. Now, in her defense, I do know enough to give them some vocal warm-ups, some vocal exercises, but I am not trained enough to teach parts. I'm just getting to the part where I can hear the tenor part. I can either sing it and can't hear it or hear it and can't sing it. It's one or the other. But what I'm saying is, as soon as I stand up in front of you and say, Deacon Lonnie, y'all, we don't know what he's doing. So you're exposed. And nobody wants to take time out their day and come and listen to you babble about nothing. It's a waste of time, especially during the week. So that's why developing yourself as a leader is important. So we got to come up with a plan. And that plan starts with knowing the function of our auxiliary. Why are we here? What's our purpose? And what does success in this auxiliary look like? Now, by a show of hands, how many of you do not know what a successful auxiliary, whatever you're fill in your blank, what success within your auxiliary look like? What is expected of you? And be honest. How many of you don't know?
Just
One. So everybody else knows. Good. Then we're ahead of the game. So Sister Evelyn is the only one. And we'll get with her. She can ask questions and we'll make sure that she's informed. So for everybody else, it's simple. Look at where you are. Look at where you're trying to go, and let's develop a plan to get there. And you're not in this by yourself. One of the reasons that we're having this is because as an office staff, we are trying to create a system where you know that we are partnering with you. We're not just throwing you out there to the wolves, but we want to help you come up with strategy and talk about ideas that may or may not work. And so we'll help you develop that plan so that in October and during our mid-year in June, we can hold you accountable. So at the beginning of the year in October, when we meet with the auxiliary leaders, the new auxiliary leaders, every auxiliary will develop a plan of action for the year. And then we will have benchmarks. And at our leadership meetings, we will go over, okay, have you reached the first benchmark? Whatever that is, it may be to grow your choir by 10% or to whatever that is, to make sure that and then if you haven't, then we start asking, what can we do to equip you to get there? So that we're all working together. It's not just on your shoulders. All right, so the second one is the future. What is the future? Pertaining to something that will exist or happen in time to come. Pertaining to something that will exist or happen in time to come. So now you know your auxiliaries function. Once you get your auxiliary functioning, that is just ground level. That's level 0. Every leader should be working towards the future. We are not building what we're building today for today. Do you see, what did I write? Look at number 4, I'm gonna skip. It says, great leaders will build houses that they may never live in. Do you understand that? When you have a love for what you do, you may be investing in something that you may never see. Great leaders do that. Dr. Martin Luther King never saw this day. Do you understand that? Dr. Ethel Levada Washington, she's walking out the door, but she didn't live to see the day that her prayers into her daughter and the seeds that she sowed in her daughter would manifest into where she is right now. So when you're building something, you never know but you gotta always look towards the future. A lot of us are raising money towards a youth center or trying to do something to the youth center, and some of us don't even have kids, or our kids are grown. But if you look at myself as a 19-year-old kid that came into a church and was looking for a way to get involved because it saved my life, if this building and the people in it had not been here, I don't want to think about where I would be. Because I came in and it was the ministries it was being a part of the Sunday school, being a part of the youth department, joining the choir, all of those things that helped me develop into who I am today. So our church is growing. We have a lot of young people. They need space. You know, times have evolved, right? It's hard to keep their attention. So my thing is, if they're already all out and involved in activities, then our job needs to be to create an environment where we can nurture them. How do you do that? By getting them involved in basketball, getting them in, they're already doing it. So why not let them be a part of it here where we can control the environment, right? Helping them, tutoring, after school programs, getting them involved in the arts, teaching them art stuff, right? And if we have a space to do that, then we can really start investing in the church of tomorrow. All right, so the future. Leaders today should always be moving toward tomorrow. You should always be trying to work yourself out of a job. Always. This is part of your vision, right? Looking at where we're going to be tomorrow. I'll tell you, the pandemic happened, and they have a lot of equipment on back order right now because a lot of churches were not online. You had churches saying, Facebook is the devil, and it's the devil, and people need to come. And I agree, they do need to come to church. But we cannot ignore the fact that there is an audience out there who is going to watch. And so it's no different than Sister Lisa and her team going out to Flag Street and trying to reach people that way. You can reach people through Facebook. If all they're doing is scrolling anyway, and we're creating content that when they scroll, boom, they see something that catches their attention. And they say, whoa, what is that? What are they saying? What is this testimony, right? So we're just putting content out there. So we should always, and so what happened was the pandemic happened, and then a lot of churches was like, okay, now how do we go virtual? And so now, it was like an influx of churches trying to buy equipment and get online to be able to reach people and reach their church all at the same time because they never thought about preparing for the future. What does the future of your auxiliary look like? 5 years ago or 10 years ago, I remember making dozens of CDs for choirs. We would go up there, we would duplicate them, pass them all out, listen to this music. Sister Moore used to tell me all the time, hey, I got to drive to up north. I need some ride-out music. I would make her a CD or CDs for her to ride up the road with. Now, nobody carries around bags of CDs. Nobody. It's on your phone. Unlimited music. Unlimited. Sister Ruth she like me. She got that CD case with all the CDs and the pictures in it. That was me. Now I have a phone with access to over 100,000 songs at my fingertips. Times change. What is the future of your auxiliary? Sister Shiny doesn't hand out CDs. She texts you a playlist. You can listen to it on your phone when you're running, jogging, or whatever. So what does the future of your auxiliary look like? And what part do I play in getting us there? All right, so a real simple plan. So today is where we are. And this is my plan of ours, right? When we're talking about the future. The first thing some of us need to do is recruit. And I'll use myself as an example. The TV ministry looks glamorous. People want to be a part of it. They see us on the cameras and they're like, oh, I want to be a part of that. They come upstairs, they see the live, they look at the monitors, and it's like, ooh, I want to do this. And me and Sister Tam always say, no, you start on the camera. That's ground level. That's entry level. That's like customer service, right? You start there first.
Right.
And so they jump on, but they don't realize that I'm standing up like the entire service. And they complain, they say, well, Sister Ruth, She gonna do a lot of moving. Yeah, so that means you have to pay attention. You know, you get somebody like Elder Jackson, who literally, he's gonna be at the middle, and he gonna come to this side when he get happy, and he coming back to the middle. That's easy. I just keep it on him, slide, and come back. But Sister Ruth is gonna be down here, she going over there, she coming up there, so you have to be focused. So the first thing they do is say, you know what? I don't know if I want to do it. And now I have to chase them down. I need you on the camera. Oh, the day I ran Thursday. Well, this is our job. This is our job. And so a lot of times they try to kind of fall in the cracks. But you know, I got a visitor coming today, so I don't really want to. So my job to make sure that my auxiliary is prepared for the future is to do what? Recruit. Recruit. When your auxiliary gets down to the bare bones, and this is how I'm going to tell you when you know it's the bare bones. When your most faithful people in your auxiliary is your family, it's time to recruit. When I have Matthew, Jessica, and Sarah on the camera, I'm doing a poor job as a leader, it's time for me to recruit, right? If you want to make sure that your auxiliary is ready for tomorrow, you have to recruit. And again, developing yourself is the first tool to recruitment. When they know you know what you're talking about and that you're going to help them and empower them, they don't mind joining your team. And then the second four, I put them together. Reevaluate, restructure, rebuild, and rehearse. Reevaluate, because what worked yesterday may not necessarily work today. Things change all the time. So reevaluate constantly. Why do we have meetings? So we can reevaluate what's working, what's not working. A lot of stuff that we used to do is not working. And when I'm talking about not working, I'm not talking about our foundation. Like, we know what our DNA is, prayer and fasting. And I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, like Sister Shiny said, I text everybody, nobody show up. Well, if that's not working, reevaluate.
Yes.
Reevaluate. And our job is to help you come up with a plan, not an excuse. You give us your excuse and we say, okay, how can we reevaluate how you're doing it to come up with a better way? And then restructure. It may take some restructuring. So I figured out that a lot of my people, they look at the cameras and it's like, I don't mind doing the cameras, but upstairs looks like the fun stuff. So in our reevaluation, we have to come up with a way to train them on everything so that they feel like I am a part of the entire process. Not just, I just got to sit on the camera. No, you don't just, you can run the sound, you can do the live, you can do the scriptures on the screen. So now we're cross-training everybody and rotating so that everybody feels a part of it. And then we have a producer that produces the show on Sundays. So if Tam is producing that day, Tam's job is to make sure that the cameras are white balanced, we have people on the camera, and we have people in position upstairs, and that everything is rotating. Her job as the producer is to make sure everybody's in place. We had to reevaluate because people were getting bored just being on the cameras. And then we had to figure out another way. Like, what else can we do to tell the story? What is our function? We are the media arm of the ministry. So we take what's going on in the house, and our job is to package it and present it out to the world through the airwaves, through radio, through the TV broadcast, through the website, through the Facebook page, through the Instagram page, and that's not just Sunday morning sermons. That's Bible studies. That's creating catchy hashtags. That's just making sure that people know that we exist. All right? So reevaluate, restructure, rebuild, and then rehearse your people to make sure they know what the function is. Rehearse them. Do they know how to run the cameras? Do they know how to get on the Facebook Live? And then the last thing you do is you release them to be able to work. And where are they going? They are the future of the auxiliary. I'm 42 years old. I'm still young, but I've been working on the TV ministry since when? Before I got married, and I've been married 20 years in June. So for about 20 years, I've been running up and down them stairs on Sunday. I used to run up and down them stairs real fast. Now it take me a minute to get up there.
Okay.
What am I saying? At some point, I need young legs. Hey, the battery don't went out. Deacon Greer tell you. You say, hey, we need some batteries. We toss them down now.
Okay.
Or we call people to come up there. I'm saying he's been up there just as long as I have. And so we don't like change, but we are changing. every day, whether we like it or not. So prepare for it. Prepare for it. There are so many things that I want to do, that I aspire to do, but I cannot leave my job unattended. It's an indictment upon me as a leader if I have to be in Spain doing a show with my musical and the church can't run because I'm not here. That doesn't make me look good. That means I'm a sorry, poor planned leader.
That's right.
The church life should go on regardless. And so look at that and ask yourself, as a leader, if I miss the Sunday, and this could be good and bad, if I miss the Sunday, will the church function? Can my auxiliary keep going? Will worship be the same? Will my ushers know what to do? Would people show up for Sunday school? Would pastor be hungry that Sunday? Would the deacons, would somebody be here to open up church? If I was not here, would somebody be here to count the money? Would the church get vacuumed? Who would greet the people when they come in? Ask yourself, if I was not here, what would my auxiliary do? Are they prepared to serve? Are they prepared for the future? So, my two nuggets were function and future. And I have a lot of areas where you can write in, because I want you to be able to know what success looks like and be able to gauge how to come up with the plan. Because the days of just getting in an auxiliary and just, hey, I was there, we did what we needed to do, and just, we can't do that. Souls are at stake, and the future of our ministry is at stake. When people come, we plant them in an auxiliary, and your job is to develop them within that auxiliary. Amen? Do we have any questions? Any questions? All right. Thank you.